and say, you're my favorite son, so son, I'm coming, whether your wife is stressed or not. Actually, the question you posed to me, in reality, there are many husbands who are caught in that sort of a situation. The wife and the mother. And the wife is stressed over the mother wanting to come and stay with them. I think a good place for the husband to start is the husband need to know and understand the priority of relationships in the home.
Hi everyone, my name is Jared. I'm staff of Campus Crusade for Christ, and I'm your host for this session. So, I believe everyone wants a healthy, good, and godly family. But I believe it is difficult for men to become a godly husband. So, how can we love God, love our wife, our children, and our family? You want to know about the overall plan of God's design for marriage and family? Do remember to watch back our previous episode of what Michael's sharing about this topic. So let's welcome our speaker for today, Michael. Yeah, we are glad to have you once again with us. Yeah, and today we also invited two guests. Yeah, they are two husbands. Of course, I'm also a husband. Yeah, so they are respectively married for one is more than 10 years and one is less than 5 years. And they will share with us some of their struggles of their life in being a husband and the challenges in their marriage life. Of course, maybe some they ask for others lah. Yeah, so they ask Michael, and Michael will respond to us. Without further ado, let's ask our guests to introduce themselves.
Hi Michael, hi Jared.
Hi.
Thanks for welcoming us. My name is Liang Wei. I am a school teacher. I currently have been married for 2.5 years. As of now, we don't have children yet, but God willing, we wait for His time.
Hi Michael and Jared. My name is Richard. I'm a financial planner. I'm helping people from all walks of life in planning their retirement, children education, and also estate planning. So currently, I'm married with my wife for more than 15 years, and I have 2 children in our family. So the eldest daughter is 13, the youngest one is 12 years old.
Wow. So welcome Liang Wei and Richard to this show. So maybe let's start with Richard. You have questions for Michael?
Yes, Michael, I have a question for you. A husband, mom plans to stay with his family, but his wife feels stressed to stay with his mother-in-law. So, in your opinion, what do you think the husband should do?
Thank you, Richard, for posing that question. Actually, the question you posed to me, in reality, there are many husbands who are caught in that sort of a situation because he's dealing with the important issue of 2 very important persons in his life, the wife and the mother. And the wife is stressed over the mother wanting to come and stay with them. I think a good place for the husband to start is the husband need to know and understand the priority of relationships in the home. Let me show you this. This is my hand. The thumb represents the relationship with God. Then the forefinger is the relationship with the wife. So it's second in line. And then the third finger is the family, which includes the mother, the parents, and the siblings and all the family members. And then the fourth finger represents the church family. And then lastly, it represents the world at large. So with this clear understanding, then the husband will be able to come to a point to address his current situation. with that mind frame of that understanding of the priority of relationship. And because the Bible tells us that honoring parents is the fifth commandment, and that is so very important. So to move forward, then the husband need to first of all ask the mother, or try to understand what is the reason for her to want to stay with him. I think in my mind, I think there could be many reasons. It could be due to health reason. Could it be because there are no other children of hers want to take her into the home and say, you're my favorite son, so son, I'm coming, whether your wife is stressed or not. So the other possibility could be the father may have recently passed away, and she might feel lonely, and she would want to come and stay with her. So there are many reasons. So the husband needs to find out what is that reason before he can attempt to resolve the current issue that they are facing. So the other aspect of it is also the husband needs to be sensitive to the wife's stress. And so he will need to ask the wife, dear wife, I understand that you are stressed, but can you share with me what is that causes you the stress that mom is coming? Perhaps I can, now we can work it out and see how we can take her in, or whether there are other alternatives to this situation you are facing. Maybe that will help you to release your stress. Is that okay with you?
Thank you.
Oh, it's not easy. You need to understand priority and need to see the conditions.
Yeah.
And really to be sensitive how God is leading the husband. Yeah, looks like husband is more stressed. Yeah. Okay, Liang Wei. Yeah, the next.
Yeah. Next question. Okay, my question is related to what you shared before this in your talk. Yeah, in your example of the camera, where one needs to know the design in order to maximize its capability, and how that is similar when it comes to knowing God's design for marriage. Michael, can you help us by elaborating more on how knowing the purpose of marriage will maximize the marriage capability, just like the camera?
That's a very good question. Many people can be Christian for many years, and yet as they read through the Bible, they tend to miss out the very fundamental understanding of marriage and family, and how the marriage and family affects their home, and how the family and the marriage even reflects part of the gospel. So if you look at what I've shared in my message, we are going right to the beginning of Genesis, where God says in Genesis 2:24, talking about the man shall leave his father and mother and cleave to the wife, and they shall be one flesh. Now that is very foundational. It all begins from there, and from that understanding, it built the other basis of how we run the family. Why? Okay, let me unpack the whole thing. The leave, cleave, and one flesh. What does it really mean? What does it really mean for a married man, to leave the family? And why does a man need to leave the parents? Right? Why do we need to leave? Now, living here doesn't mean that because I am married, then I'm going to abandon, I'm going to leave you and send you parents to the old folks home. No, that's not the idea of living. Here, the whole idea of God giving the command to leave is for the newlywed to leave the parents and to start a new family unit, independent of themselves. And the Bible also talks about His design that the husband is the head of the family. And so in that leaving the original family, then this new family unit begins to be independent, emotionally, spiritually, especially financially. A lot of newlyweds, they may have leave the family physically, but financially they are still very much attached to the parents. Or on the other hand is that emotionally, the wife might have left geographically, go to another place, but emotionally she's very attached to the mother. And so when there is a conflict between husband and wife, first thing you call, mommy, my husband like that one, I know like that, I won't marry him already. Then the mother also, okay, come back. And so what happens? The wife will run back. So the emotional attachment between the child, the wife, is not cut. So remember, I talk about priority of relationship. That priority relationship is wrong. Right? It's no more the spouse. It's going back to the mother. So that is the understanding of living. Now, talk about cleaving. Now, what is the image of cleaving? Here, the understanding of cleaving is a permanent bonding of a relationship. Permanent is like super glued together, and that is what is being expressed in the Bible, where God says, "What God has joined together, let no man separate." So that shows that this marriage of the living part and cleaving is a long-term or lifetime commitment in a marriage relationship. It is not like our culture today. I get married and then tomorrow I wake up, I got headache, then say I cannot, let's get a divorce. So that is not God's design. God's design is a permanent relationship. That is why in our marriage, we take the marriage vow. What do we say? What do you say? What is the marriage vow? Okay, what's the marriage vow?
I know the last line, till death do us part.
That's the most important one. Until in goodness, in health, in love, until death do us apart. So that understanding, death do us apart, gives us a picture of the idea of cleaving. It is a permanent, sacred, long lifetime relationship. Now then the other part is about one flesh. What does it mean by one flesh? The one flesh expression expresses is that the both two individuals are coming together and then they become oneness. They become one. It's very strange. 1 plus 1 is 2, right? But in God's sense, 1 plus 1 is still 1. They are one. They are one in body, in spirit, emotionally, they are one. So that one flesh also expresses that it's the deepest form of communication. And the deepest form of communication is the sexual union. And so that is why God has provided sex as a means of multiplying, and which later I'll talk about God multiplying the godly offspring. So that is the one flesh concept. And knowing that the one flesh concept is that the Bible says God brought Eve to Adam, right? And then they are joined together, and that is the first institution called the family. Remember this, God brought Eve to Adam. God did not bring Steve to Adam. You know what I mean? And that is why we get the whole, we are facing the whole LGBT issue. That is anti-God. It's anti-design of what's God's plan and purpose. God, in the very beginning, said, I created male and female, right? And in that context, God brought them together as male and female, and God called it the first marriage. But the world is anti-culture, anti-God, and they say, no. So long as there is love, it doesn't matter the partner, whether it's a boy or a girl. Men and men also can, girl and girl also can. So that is a real challenge for us Christians in today's context. So I hope I unpacked that. That is God's design in marriage, which is very fundamental. Any thoughts?
Yeah, thank you. So to summarize, you explain that the way to maximize God's design for marriage is through three things you spoke about. Can I ask a follow-up question?
Yeah, sure.
So I'm wondering now, for for those who follow those three,
Hmm.
what is the result that they will see from that, or follow those three?
You mean, okay, following the God's plan, the design in that sequence, in that order, then it will harmonize and you are living a life in alignment with God's purposes, right? And so that is where you talk about how you are living a Christ-centered marriage, right? Following God's design and idea. Okay, let's give me an example. Let's say a person do not want to follow God's design, right? And that understanding is a one flesh, right? But let's take example of the one flesh. So the one flesh is male and female. So if you were to go against God's design, then two men get married. Now you tell me, how are they going to multiply? You can't, right? You just can't. Okay, then let's say you take the idea of not wanting to live. You don't want to live. And then there's an understanding they were saying that in one mountain they cannot have how many? Cannot have two tigers, right? One mountain you cannot. So if you were to stay in your family, your parents, then you will have a difficulty to be the leader of your family that God wants you to be. You cannot express it because you are living under your parents. And once you live under your parents, your father is the head of the house. You get what I mean? So it's very, very difficult. We have experienced that. I was the only son. So I said, before we got married, we say, okay, we need to follow God's plan, live, cleave, and be one flesh. But then being the only son, my father finds it so illogical. Why do you want to live and not stay with us? You stay with us free, you don't have to rent house, you can eat here, you can the next time you got children, we can take care of our children. Sounds very logical, right? Very pragmatic, right? But for us, we say, no, we want to honor God's word. Then we say, okay, we will give ourselves 1 year. Just to honor my father, don't upset him. So, okay, after 1 year, then we will make that move. But I tell you, living that 1 year under my father's home is so difficult. Our home is actually our bedroom. Every time we go back home, we go back to bedroom because that is our home. We can't just place our things or whatever, hang our things everywhere that we are living in because it's not our house. It belongs to my father. You get what I mean? So, and then when you fight, when we have conflict, how to fight? You cannot fight. You cannot even raise your voice, otherwise the parents will be wondering what is happening. So it causes a lot of tension in that relationship itself. So it's never a good idea to go against God's design. You will face a lot of difficulties in resolving conflict. You find a lot of issues that you cannot resolve because you are not an independent unit by your own. I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, so it's more of what you're saying is more of there are consequences if you don't follow the design.
Yes.
Yeah, which is hard enough, given the world we live in, right?
Yes.
Yeah, keep marriages together. Thank you for that.
Yeah, indeed. If of course God's design is good, and if we didn't follow God's design, there are a lot of side effects, like what you mentioned, that we need to bear.
If you liked our sharing just now, like this video or share it with your friends. If you'd like to check out more of our content, do subscribe to our YouTube channel or watch back our previous videos here. Thank you for watching. Bye!